Hey everybody, what's going on? DJ Fire here. So the video you were about to see, I know I've talked about it in a few of my other videos. This is the DJ roundtable that my good friend over at TBM Productions puts on every Tuesday night unless something comes up, and then we normally announce it. But we have a bunch of DJs throughout the world, as you all know. Okay, so there is DJs all over the world, and we want to talk to you. So if you would like to come join our podcast that we do on Twitch, let me know. I can get you in contact with Buddy. Buddy's the one that does it all, but I got a little clip show here that I'm going to start putting here on the channel every so often. We had a very special guest here on the show. The previous podcast we had DJ Rachel. Those of you that don't know her, she is a really, really awesome DJ. She does, you know, things in her area differently than we do things here. It's a really awesome way for people to talk and interact and find out what people are doing throughout the world. So I wanted to kind of show you a little bit of a clip show here on how the DJ world is evolving. We talk about products, we talk about music, we talk about equipment, we talk about just all different kinds of DJ related stuff. So if you want to see DJ Solstice, DJ Rachel, DJ Buddy, or TBM Productions, DJ Mike James, I'm trying to think of all the people that's been in it. DJ Cool Thing, DJ, I can't think of your names right now, but they're all out there. If you want to come join our show, then drop me a comment below or shoot me an email. I'll get you in contact with who you need to be in contact with, and you can come on the show too. We stream from Zoom to Twitch. If you don't want to be on the show and you just want to come watch the show, come watch the show on Twitch. It's a very awesome little deal that we put together, and there's some awesome DJs on there. Like I said, we had DJ Rachel on there technically last night, but at the time of this recording, it may not have been last night. So anyway, let's get into the video.
So I won't tell it today, but I have like a ton of other content that kind of goes into how I got into it. But I actually never really wanted to be a DJ. It came out of a family emergency where I just kind of had to step up in the moment and figure it out. And here we are, 20 years later, running a business that I never thought I would even have. So it's just funny how the world just puts things and situations in front of you and just kind of leads you in a certain path.
Hey guys, so before we get into the video, one other thing that I forgot to say. So for some reason, my screen recording software that I use to record this didn't record my audio. So when you see me talking, the little yellow line will go around my box, and you can see me talking, but for some reason the audio did not record. So if you want to see what I had to say, go make sure you're subscribed to TBM Productions. He will upload this video, I believe, on basically the Monday after the show, unless he decides to put it up earlier. And you can go on there and see what I had to say. And we do have OBS software now, so we're going to be streaming with that. So that's going to be awesome, and going to hopefully not have that problem. We've kind of situated. We had some problems in the old software. So yeah.
Do this, and I'll be back in 3 minutes when the song ends. So I would do like one little mini mix, and he would come back, and then the cigarette break turned into like, I'll be back in 10 minutes, then a half an hour, then an hour. And week after week, I kept getting like these little micro mini lessons so he could go like hang out and relax. And I ended up DJing when I, again, didn't even like think of it. And then he started passing me kind of gigs here and there. And so I always had a really strong mixing background, but as I kind of developed my skills and matured a little bit, I started kind of venturing into the private event space. It started out with a local gym, was kind of like my first like not club bar gig, where a gym hired me to DJ their fitness classes, which was a ton of fun. And then from there, you have young women, a lot in this class, and they're getting married, and they have, little girls that are getting, their 15th birthday, and just things really just started to kind of take off. And it's just been a really interesting journey. So I've done everything from car shows to fan experience at MetLife Stadium for another DJ company. I've opened up for Gloria Gaynor and George Clinton Parliament Funkadelic. Weddings, school dances, like, I don't know, if you need music, I'm there. I'm just kind of one of those like open format, flexible people, and I just love it. So yeah.
And just so you guys are watching out there, if you're watching it on later on YouTube, or if you're watching it right now live on Twitch, because we do this on Twitch on Tuesday nights, make sure you go to her YouTube channel, and she has other social media. She has Instagram, you have Facebook, are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok. Not as active as I should be, but I'm on TikTok.
That's fine. But you're on TikTok. Look for her. It's worth watching her gig logs. It is absolutely awesome. I will tell you this: you have a great personality, this nice, bubbly personality that comes through naturally. It's like someone you can sit down with and have dinner with and just chit chat and have this great, awesome person to sit across from you and talk about stuff. She breaks things down. She explains things, how she's doing it, and it's always awesome. It's educational. Especially if you get into the business, you're just getting into the DJ business. It's one of the people you can watch along with Matt. Matt does a great job doing that too. And a lot of the DJs here on YouTube have a lot of great looks for that and help you out. And that's what this show is about, is to help everyone out, veterans as well as people who are just starting out. If you see the dance floor is slow to fill, what is the banger song that you go with to get the crowd going to dance floor? Me personally, I always look at what the crowd is into. Just because you're in Austin or San Antonio, they can be a rock crowd. They could be like into like your hair bands or your grunge or whatever your stuff is. And this is when it becomes good to be diverse in knowing different popular songs in those genres, and maybe throwing that out, or throw something else out to just surprise them and see if it works. It doesn't hurt to throw a song out that you may or may not think works and just see what happens. But I will tell you what's been working last year, which I was very surprised, and it has been worked very well multiple times, and actually a video on YouTube, is Fall Out Boy, Sugar Going Down. It's one of the songs that it's just hitting people left and right.
I'll give you two of my, are you talking about opening the dance floor?
Oh, no, the dance floor is slow to fill. So this question is, the dance floor is slow to fill.
I always
bangers you get to attract people to the dance floor.
I mean, my dance floors fill quickly usually, but because people know what they're getting and they know that they're a dancey crowd typically. But the two that I always start with, here's two of my secrets that I never tell. I either start with Higher Love, the Kygo remix, Kygo and Whitney Houston. I think it's Whitney Houston, right?
Yeah.
And either that or Superstitious. I have a remix called the Silo remix, and it's very like funky, kind of like those two songs are perfect to get the older and younger crowd in. They're not too over the top energetic, but they're enough like to really kind of bring people in and start off your party. And then that way they're both at 100. So I always gauge the crowd, and I'm like, if they're ready to like party right away, then we're going to go right up into like 115 into 128s. Or if they're more into that like funk kind of stuff, then we'll keep it like Uptown Funk. We'll do more of the like Respect, that kind of stuff, and slowly build that way. But I mean, if the dance floor is dead, here's your cheap answer, but Cupid Shuffle always works. you can always tell. My thing is, you can always tell how good a DJ is by not how many people come out for the line dance, but how many people stay out for the next song after the line dance. And I always gold mine for me right after Cupid Shuffle is Tricky. Always works. It's Tricky. Always works. Most people know it. They stay out there.
A little Run DMC.
Yeah. Sometimes I do slow song if the dance floor is like dying, or if it's coming in waves and like people are starting to move off of it, then like a slow song always works, because then you're going to get the old people back on, and it helps people catch their breath. A lot of the venues that I'm at are, you think venues have good air conditioning, and then you get 150 people all dancing and sweating and jump in. It gets hot in there. So throw a slow song on, and that way I can go to the bathroom and get a drink, and they can relax and everybody can cool off. And I don't know, that's my.
I'll say DJ Fire for me, a lot of it is the couples that I deal with and the clientele I deal with down in Texas. A lot of normal music, we'll say, but also that country mix as well. So kind of ride that wave. A lot of couples want the country, Texas country also. So when you can kind of tell the dance floor is kind of dying, people have really been dancing the whole time, hit them with like a good country set, fade back into the normal pop, rock, hip hop, stuff like that. But kind of just ride that wave the way you feel it.
Complex answer for me. There's a lot to unpack here. So number one, I think there's a difference with this question in terms of whether you're talking about clubs and bars and private events. So that makes a big difference in how you approach this. So I'll kind of just speak to maybe private events and weddings simply because that's kind of more of my focus now, because let's be like real, that's where the money's at. You know, I do club and bar gigs, you know, right now during the winter time is like kind of filler work, but I'm not doing any really club and bar work from like May until November because that's prime wedding season. So I'm not going to waste it at a bar when I can be doing a wedding or something like that. So I do think that makes a difference though. So with private events, I don't think it's always just about the song you play. There's a lot of creative ways to get your dance floor to fill up without going to, I'm going to say, gimmicky songs or something like that. So I kind of stage my floor for success. You know, for example, like after maybe for the couple's first dance, if they decide to do that after dinner or something, you know, get everybody to surround the dance floor. That way they're already centralized, located on the floor. So it's easier for them to kind of gravitate towards the dancing. So when you drop that banger or your opening track, like it's not like pulling teeth. People are already primed and ready. I've already been, you know, psychologically kind of analyzing them during cocktail hour. I know I've been testing the waters with the pop punk, you know, a little funk, a little new disco, a little classic rock, you know, just to kind of see, all right, you know, who's doing what. So like, I'm already in their heads, like way before that we even get there, you know? And I know if it's going to be a good crowd, I know if there's open bar, if people are hitting the cocktails, you know, like there's so much psychology that goes into this. It's so much more than just having a great track, because there's like energy and momentum that you have to build in it before you even get there. You know what I mean? You know, another one is doing like a photograph to open up the floor. Like some couples might want to do the table dash and you get everyone to rush to the floor, and that the energy's high. It's been all this excitement. So people are like, they're just primed and ready to go, you know? But if we are just talking music outside of, you know, the things that I just mentioned, obviously knowing your crowd makes a difference. But let's just say it's a mixed crowd where you have, you know, young and old, from 70 to 10-year-olds there. I tend to play it a little safe, and I'll find something that's cross-generational, meaning it's recognizable to everyone, but it gives someone a little piece of everything. Like, for example, Motown, really popular. It's got a nice, like, mid-tempo. It's not intimidating, you know, it's approachable music. But I have this really awesome remix of I Want You Back by Jackson 5, but it has a Biggie Juicy mixed into it. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. So it's taking, like, you know, the old school hip hop for the 35, 20, you know, 40-year-olds, but grandma, grandpa, and mom and dad, they just hear like the Jackson 5 beat. So you can kind of bring a lot of generations in with tasteful mashups. So like that's the approach I would take. Also, like, Latin music is huge up here, you know, so sometimes you just drop like a Latin banger, a little Mark Anthony. I hate to say it, Bad Bunny, you know, like people are running to the floor for that. It crushes. It's huge.
I will start at you know, give that first hour to the entirety of the wedding. And then right about after an hour in, when you technically would have the bouquet and garter toss, by old folks, I'm playing. And this became a joke about how many ambulances I had at my weddings from people dropping out. I just don't, the club thing, I just don't back off. You're told not to. You're told to keep the party going from start until finish. And a few people got into my head about it, but I started going, okay, 9 o'clock sharp, here comes Wobble, here comes Yeah, and we're going straight to that set. And for me, now I keep doing that. But you put out the best one out there, Fall Out Boy's Sugar, We're Going Down Swinging. Right when I've been at about 125 to 130 BPM or so, maybe even pushing that up to Cascada every time we touch. And if I'm really feeling lucky, I'll throw in hand clap there. But right near the end of that, I'm dropping Sugar, We're Going Down Swinging, simply because it has that fade out ending, and that gives me an opportunity to go in any direction I want, be it rock, again, pop music, country, but that fade is everything at the end of that song. So,
I feel the same way with Mr. Brightside. It has the same kind of ending. You can drop whatever you want after it.
I do Brightside and the Mo Bamba a lot, which sounds crazy but works really well.
No, it's because the energy is so high. You could like fart in your microphone and people would still while out after Mr. Brightside. So
I like saving Brightside till near the very end of the night. I honestly do, because near the last hour, when you can tell people are doing that, we are hammered, we're going up and down, or they're starting to dwindle, I will start doing this little thing. Dance song, sing along, rock song, and do this little up and down thing just to keep them engaged for that last 45 minutes. At that point, I don't want you leaving the dance floor. If you're going to puke, go for it. It happens a lot at my weddings. And I will push until the very end and then play whatever the couple's last, group song or whatever it is they want.
DJ Mike James. Again, I know you and DJ Fire are in the same area, but you do a little different gigs than he does. Sometimes you do similar gigs. What do you see that is a popular song that you might go to? Again, it's a big question, like Rachel iterated before, but it's one of the things that what's some of the songs you go to?
Absolutely. I mean, it is a lot to unpack. I mean, it depends a lot on where you are. I'm kind of staying pretty consistent in a bar that I do, again, in the off season of weddings, just to keep the bills paid. But of course, because the weddings do pay so much better. But all the line dances always do really well. You can't ever go wrong with 2000s hip hop. You know what I mean? Regardless of what that is or what era you're from, if it's Flo Rida, if it's Peas, if it's E40, if it's any of these guys you guys are talking about, a lot of that stuff really translates well. And here in the Central Illinois area, just like Rachel was saying, Bad Bunny, Romeo Santos. I mean, all of these Latin performers are doing fantastic here also. And I mean, and I do take requests. I know a lot of DJs don't, especially when I'm in the bar, because it's kind of it gives me a little bit of a. Not only am I already in the minds, because I do the same bar all the time, so I know the people and I know the crowd, and I know that I can fire up AC/DC, I can do all that stuff, and then drop it out and go ahead and pull hip hop and everything else that I do to keep the night going. But again, that's a huge question. You can't go wrong with line dances, but I mean, it really depends on how that night is going. I mean, it really and then for me, I do my mixes as the night goes. So
I'm telling you, Dancing Queen slays. I'm gonna say probably 30% of my weddings, I'm opening up with Dancing with that little piano lift up. And just people go,
the intro.
They go wild for it.
You might think this is funny. I'll play Gimme 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 at the college club here. I DJ it in town all the time. And I swear to God, the girls are jumping on the bar and going bonkers for it. And I never dreamed outside of Dancing Queen that would push that hard. I mean,
that's what I was going to say is that it's pretty crazy how TikTok is just helping the cross-generational stuff. So like a good song that I've noticed here recently, especially in the past year or two, is Let's Groove, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And that's because it's come back to be popular on TikTok. So the younger generation knows the song. And so you can play it and hit both generations. You can hit your Gen Zs, and then you can also hit your we'll say even baby boomers and things like that, people in like your Gen Xers and things like of that nature. So TikTok's done a lot, but it's done a lot of good. It's also done a lot of bad, we'll say.
There's a lot of unique stuff on TikTok that people need to stay away from. But let's do this real quickly. I'm going to ask you guys a yes or no question, because we're getting a little bit of disco here. I got a question for you for the room. So it's a really quick yes or no. Would you play it at a gig? And that question is, would you play anything from the Bee Gees at a gig? DJ Cool Thing.
Definitely.
Gotta play that.
Definitely. There's a lot of older, there's a lot of older people that live here in South Carolina. So
DJ
they like
Fire, yes or no? Bee Gees.
Oh my God, the biggest yes in the whole world. And not only that, I got so many versions. Like I got Staying Alive in the Club to kind of hit that cross-generational thing. I use that as a transition track to go into like Bruno Mars, 24 Karat Magic. Even if you just do like a 20-second clip of it, that, you know, the acapella, use the stems, like it's like a staple. Like if you don't play it, my mind is like blown. It's yes, the biggest yes in the whole world.
It's like
I've been listening to the Bee Gees since preschool. I had their cassettes and one of CDs and vinyl and everything. So
Matt, what about you? Yes or no? Bee Gees.
If it's a disco liking crowd, yeah. I mean, it goes right there with Higher Love. Like it's in that same realm of 100 to 110. I think it's 98 or something, but. I just use the Saturday Night Fever version. But it's always a crowd pleaser. I won't play it later in the night. Like if I'm gonna do disco, it's gonna be earlier. Same thing with September. Like all those are gonna be earlier in the night. Because I like to get into EDM and hip hop as quick as possible. Not even EDM, but just like my normal stuff that I like to.
Well, EDM's usually like 125 up, and then. Hip hop is usually below 90 for the most part, and disco it's like right there, like 105, 108, 110.
I'm telling you, I love the 105s. Like I love that middle range area. I really do. I don't know why. Like I personally love it, but don't get me wrong. I know how to look at a dance floor and know I need to go down to the 90s, 80s. I need to bump up to the 120s, the 130s. But I love that little 105 to 110 range. Sometimes it can.
Mike James, what about you? Bee Gees, yes or no?
You can get the full.
Absolutely, it's a good transition. It's definitely a good transition. You know what I mean? I have no problem with the Bee Gees. Loved them. Loved the movies growing up. I mean, who doesn't like chest hair and gold chains, right?
Definitely. Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, DJ Brentley, what about you? Bee Gees, yes or no?
They're one of my favorite all-time guilty pleasure bands, and like when I did
the DJ 12, always from Great Canada. Hello, Aaron. Bee Gees. He said also hello, everyone. We Should Be Dancing. Gold is what also another thing he put up here in the chat. So that right there, We Should Be Dancing is a good one. I think a lot of people related to Saturday Night Fever's soundtrack. The Bee Gees. They have tons of other songs. They have stuff before Saturday Night Fever, and they have stuff later on in the 80s.